Hi, it's Jasmin. You know, that girl who did you-know-what way before the internet ever existed. Join me and my special guest every week as we talk about anything and everything because nothing is too taboo. So punch your ticket and get on board the Krazy train with me, Jasmin St. Clair. All aboard! Thank you so much for joining me for a brand new episode of Krazy Train with Jasmin St. Clair. This week's guest is someone, I decided to get a little bit selfish because he's hot and I wanted to talk to him. Plus, he's also a fellow adrenaline junkie, just like I love my motorcycles and betting online at betonline.ag. Of course, don't forget, betonline.ag. You too can be an adrenaline junkie like me and take risks and stuff by betting online or riding motorcycles, or like my next guest, Mick Blue, he races cars, which is pretty good. And he also does porn, which is even more amazing, as long as he doesn't injure the necessary parts. So let's welcome to Krazy Train, Mick Blue. I'm so excited to have you on because one of the things that drew me to Mick Blue was the second place at the NASA TT6 Championship. And that's a big deal, like race car driving, motorcycle racing. I love American flat track, by the way. So this is what drew me right in. How did you get into this?
How did I get into this? Okay, when I do back pedal, right? Everything started somehow in Austria when I was a kid. I always liked the adrenaline and the speed, and so Austria car racing or karting, go-karting was not really that big, so I started ski racing. And the reason why I bring this up is because the parallels, are between racing skis and car racing is very similar because you kind of you have to work with the momentum mid corner, and in both sports you do that. So I did ski racing, and then when I came to the United States, after a few years, I decided to dive deep into go-kart racing, and I did that with Jim Hall Racing School in Oxnard. For about 2 3 years, I raced the 100cc tag karts and the 125cc tag karts, and I think that was a really great baseline for car racing. And then basically after 3 years, I set my focus on bigger racetracks, bigger cars, a little bit less hard on your body.
Yeah, I don't get it because you also have this very long career, lengthy career in adult films. What is it, like 20 years? And then you're doing this. Don't you ever get scared that, oh shit, I might screw something up. I may not be able to do anything, with my adult film career if I screw up my arm or my leg?
Yes, of course. I mean, you are a professional in whatever you do, and you kind of like you say, being a professional in the adult industry, you kind of you need to take care of your body, and if you hurt your arms, limbs, or whatnot, that can be quite unfortunate. So you're gonna laugh now. I usually choose sports where I don't really hurt myself, and I know I do car racing, but the cars we have full on roll cage and all that kind of stuff, so I feel quite safe. I wouldn't go motorcycle racing, even though I love motorcycles, because you don't really have like a crash zone, right? And then with jiu-jitsu, I feel like it's an amazing sport, great for your mind and your body, and you can choose which directions you go. Are you gonna tap if you come to a situation where you think okay, I can hurt my arm or my leg with that? It's like, yes, of course, it's better to tap because if you hurt yourself, you can't train for 3 months or 6 months and you can't work. So I think it really depends what kind of decisions you make in your life and the way how you choose to do those extreme sports that you are drawn to.
Yeah, I like the adrenaline junkie. I think that's what drew me to motorcycles and flat tracks. So I get it though. I know one guy that had a really bad crash and both hands were broken. So go figure. And these things are fluke. You don't know who's driving in the street, even like when you ride in the street, you know? Uh,
Yes, and it's great that you say that because coming from Austria, I love to go fast on the streets, because we have our police officers were a little bit more lenient than in the United States, and like speed limits were a little bit different. So we were driving quite crazy on the streets. But now that I'm in the States and have the opportunity to go on the racetrack, I think everybody, if you really want to go fast and stuff like this, it's so easy nowadays, especially in America, to go to a track day, get your speediness out on a racetrack where other people, everybody drives the same direction, and you have crash zones and all that kind of stuff, and you don't hurt people as you would do on the street if you go fast.
yeah. I think you did mention something interesting about the cars. You're saying that they have a crash cage or something to the side. Like, what is that exactly? Was there something that if you open up, that like a net comes out, or what was that you were describing before?
Uh, so it's kind of like let's say if you go to a track day, you can do that with your regular car. It's like whatever you want to drive, you can do it on track. There's no racing. It's literally just like getting familiar with the track or go as fast as you want within safe limits, right?
No, no.
Uh, with time trial, it's kind of like we have cars in our class that don't have a full-on roll cage. And are still able to compete, but you need to have all the safety gear and whatever whatnot that protects you. Um, my car is because I'm also racing, so it's kind of like we have uh, tight competitions going on with other cars, and if you race against each other, crashes can happen or contact can happen, that nobody really wants, but it just out of nowhere, right? It can happen. So we have cars or regulations of roll cages, how thick they have to be, how they basically need to be built for each car and all that kind of stuff. So it's like when you sit after in the car, it doesn't matter from which side you would have an impact. You're basically in inside of kind of like a metal cocoon,
Yeah.
that keeps you safe, even if you have a full-on impact.
But if that if the impact is so strong, have you ever seen one of those metal cocoons break or like explode?
Not with those cars that we are racing. I mean, keep in mind, I'm not racing super fast cars,
Yeah.
so the speeds we drive, I would say the maximum speed we drive is maybe 120, 125 miles an hour, and most of the time our high speed is about 115, and that speed sounds a lot, but even if you crash it, doesn't really this. I mean, I haven't really seen any of the cars that we race with or that I raced with are being so destroyed that the roll cage wouldn't hold in the car.
Yeah. I think I watch too much like MotoGP as well. And I think of bikes all the time and like things happening. And I've seen enough car racing, but I've never seen anything go horribly wrong yet.
Yeah,
And
I mean, when they put these regulations in, they do crash tests and they want to make. I mean, they literally tell you how thick it has to be, where it has to be. So it's kind of like it's a whole plan, and it's like a whole homework that you have somebody put into your car in order to have it safe. And it's a good thing because, yeah, I mean, something can always happen and you don't want to hurt yourself, right?
yeah, yeah. I used,
Motorcycles are different. I mean, motorcycle, you have your body. Your body is the crash zone, and they're amazing to drive, but if it goes wrong, it can go horribly wrong quite fast.
yeah, I'm a bit aggressive though. Like I do sound the horn more than I should. I've kicked in a few windows. Like people are dicks. Like in a car, okay, race car, it's one thing. When you're on your bike, you're like exposing yourself to every dick face out there driving. Excuse the English. And
Of
so the thing,
course, yeah.
but everyone's an asshole, especially in LA with Teslas. Like, I cannot stand a Tesla car driver. I literally want to rip your balls off because you have none. You're in this car, this electric car, like honking your horn at me. Like, can I just put my hand in and rip your head off? And that's the first mistake I made when I moved here. I came back from Europe and I pulled someone out of the car. So in Europe, you could do that in
Nice.
some places. But the thing is, the cop had to explain to me, man, you cannot do that here. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's right. You people suck.
Yeah, America's a little bit more Hippocratic. And I want to come back to the Tesla thing,
Yeah.
because you're not the first person that says like people who drive Tesla, they're like very much like dicks when they change the lines and all that kind of stuff. And uh, many times they don't drive themselves, right? So it's kind of like the car does it for themselves. So
Oh,
what if Elon Musk fed his intelligence, into the AI of the Tesla? That would explain everything. It's like why they drive like dicks, and why they change lines without looking twice, because he just embedded himself, into the mind of the AI from the car,
that makes so much sense. I like
right?
that. That is 100% true. So Elon Musk, the reason why these Teslas suck is because it's Elon Musk's intellect, or maybe just his way of thinking, he put into the car drew the whole AI. And I don't think he's that
Listen,
great.
listen. Elon Musk loves himself so much. I mean, it would be a huge surprise for me. It's like if he wouldn't do that. I mean, let's just be serious. It's like he loves social media. He's always on the chitty chat and whatever whatnot. I mean, it's like, I mean, if you have the opportunity to kind of like um, implant part of you in something that you produce, that's I think that's something he would do.
Yeah, you're right. I think he's had like really bad surgery too. Um, it's like one of those like face tights, like you go into a wind tunnel and it goes like pulling your face back like 80 years. Uh,
Yeah.
that's interesting. I think I'm gonna try to engage with him on Twitter. I'm gonna always call it Twitter, by the way. It is not X to me. Uh, I will try to engage with him on there and discuss this with him. Maybe I'll get kicked off. We'll find out really soon. But what's interesting is you have this great career. I mean, coming in second place at a car race, like a championship like that, is a big deal. Do they know that you have your adult film side? Do you find that the two worlds collide at any point in a bad way?
So here's the thing. When I go out there or when I started racing with this organization, I never go out there and say like, hey guys, I'm here now. I'm doing adult, so that everybody knows. I'm kind of like, it's like I go in there quiet, do my thing, have fun, get the people to know. The fact is that usually it doesn't really take long, that 80% of the people wherever I go, they find out what I do. Because it's like always it takes only one person to recognize you, and then they talk to the others. Hey, do you know? Hey, do you know? Hey, do you know? And then in the end, everybody knows. So, to answer your question, no, everybody is super cool. Very nice people. They know what I do. Some of them are a little bit more silent about it, and some of them are like, "Hey, man, it's cool. What's new? What have you done last week, and whatever, whatnot. And uh, the other funny thing is, since last year, when I bought my own race car, we made it a Bad Dragon Mobile, right? Or that's how we called it. I mean, in social media they called it like that because Bad Dragon. I don't know if you know the company. It's a fantasy toy company, and basically they sponsor me already quite some time. But since last year, they really went in as a main sponsor. So we wrapped the car with their company logo and all that kind of stuff. And last year at the Nationals, people literally came up and started taking pictures of the car because they knew the company. It's kind of like an insider joke for them.
How do they know the company? What are they doing at home?
Well, what everybody does. I mean, it's like let's just be serious. It's like if you think if you think that we live in a world where people don't watch erotic content, let's call it like that,
Okay.
or where people don't masturbate, no matter what gender, lives in a bubble, you know? It's like it's a fact that people do that. And it's good that people do that because every time they have an orgasm, it puts a smile on their face. And in that case, they're doing something great for themselves and something great for the world because if you're happy, you're not gonna fight and you're not gonna do stupid shit.
Yeah, that's kind of true. You've had a pretty long career in porn so far, 20 years. Is this all what you always wanted to do when you were from Austria? Did you want to like, come to the States and become an adult film star, or do you have other aspirations?
I mean, no, I had different aspirations. Like I started a regular work life in Austria and all that kind of stuff, and didn't think that I'm gonna end up full on dive into the adult industry. Was it always like fascinating for me? Absolutely, you know. Um, did I many times think about it? Okay, if whatever I'm doing, if it goes wrong, you know, I'm gonna try to be a porn star or something like this. Yes, of course. But then remember, we are in Austria. You know, it's kind of like Sound of Music and all that kind of stuff, you know. Yes, that's Austria, you know. It's kind of like they live in a or there when I was young, it was in a different world, you know. It's like we don't have stores open Saturday, Sunday, everything is closed, you know. It's like if you want to try to buy something after 6 p.m., you have no luck, you know. It's it's a different way of living. And now you want to start doing porn and you look into it, there is nobody shooting porn in Austria, or at least no great company. So it's like it was an idea, and then I didn't think about it, and then I just stumbled into it in a way where I saw an announcement on the newspaper where they were like asking for males to participate in a kind of like a gangbang thing, and I was like, well, you know what? I mean, it's like they have 5 girls and maybe 30 guys, and they're filming it and sounds fun, so I paid €100 and I participated there. Didn't really go anywhere with that, but it was fun. It was a great experience. And then a year later or so, I got a phone call for a different thing, and then it like slowly started to tumble, you know. But I don't know if we want to go into that deal now because we would probably talk too long then.
No, it's okay. It's interesting, but I'm just really wait. What year was this? What year was that film with the five girls?
I think it was. I think it was even. It was even either 1989, or
89?
1999. 80, no,
90.
1998. Yeah, 1998 or 1999.
I'm like
A
sick.
long time ago.
No, I'm seriously offended. Like who 98? Who the hell are these people to call 30 guys and five girls a gangbang? I mean, these are people are amateurs.
Oh, it was
And
amateur.
yeah,
100%.
well, that's a high offense. Like seriously, that's like an insult to certain people. Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, really. So moving right along, yeah, what I saw in Sound of Music, there's nothing wrong with that. That's perfectly fine. I would rather live in a world like that where you have the yodeling and you have the mountains and the cows and all these other cute things. What has been your secret to success for 20 years in the adult film business where you won Performer of the Year, like what, 3 years in a row, 2 years in a row?
Yes. 3 years in a row. I was actually the first in the history of porn who did that.
Yeah.
Uh, to won it 3 times in a row. And there are only Manuel won it 6 times. And then, as far as I'm informed, Lexington Steele won it 3 times, and Evan Stone, I think, won it 3 times, and myself. And that's it.
Evans, okay, I could see that. That's interesting. So now it's you. And what has been your secret to having such a long career?
I think the secret is to see the business or the industry professional. You know, in order to have a longevity in the industry, you need to take care of your body and your mind, and and see it as something real that you do. Like I see a lot of newer guys coming into the industry, and they see only like parties and starting to date with girls and all that kind of stuff, and they are not consistent afterwards when they go to work because of their lifestyle. And I think I think most of the time talents become their own biggest enemy, in any kind of, not just in the adult industry, but in any kind of industry. And staying away from your own biggest enemy is definitely like a recipe for success in our industry, if that makes sense.
Oh, completely. I mean, you're very well spoken. So if I met you outside of here in the street and we were speaking, I would have no idea or inkling that you were involved in that business because I could tell you just coming in from the 90s, it's a lot of them are train wrecks. Um,
Yeah.
a lot of them were train wrecks then. The AVN parties and everything, yeah, they were fun to go to, but who really wants to have drinks and do a bunch of drugs with these people? Not me. So it's a very interesting, it was an interesting time. Do they still have the award shows? Do you go to those?
Yes, of course. I mean, we still have the award shows. We still have AVN, like in Vegas, and then our XPs is usually 1 week or 2 weeks prior in Los Angeles. And do parties still happen at the AVNs in Vegas? Of course. I mean, it's kind of like parties never really go away, especially if you go to Vegas where everything is served on a silver platter, right? Um, but what changed a lot, like I would say in the industry itself, over the past 20 years, is that now most of the industry is owned by the internet nerds, Right, that's how I call them. It's like everything, like those guys who basically, when the internet came out, they figured out how to make traffic, and how to use the internet and clickbaits and whatever, whatnot, and they're running our industry now. Versus 20 years ago or 30 years ago, it was, like strip club owners, or in Europe, people who owned nightclubs or whatever, whatnot. It was a different um, kind of crowd of people who got involved with the industry and made money with the industry. Versus now in 2023, it's everything is corporate. It's literally like if you wanna produce something, you kind of like you have to go to X amount of hurdles. You have uh, dozens of pages of model releases and consent forms and whatever whatnot, just to make sure that everybody is on the same page when they are at work, that their needs and their boundaries are respected. And looking at this time machine, as I can almost call it, I'm very, very pleased and very, very happy that the industry um, changed to that, because it just created a much, much safer workspace for everybody.
I guess. I mean, I don't know what a real safe workspace was. Everyone was tested. I was a total bitch to everyone because I don't like anyone touching me unless there's a camera rolling. That's the way it should be. So boundaries like that are set where, a girl shouldn't have to fluff a male performer unless she really wants to. And that pressure should never be there. If you're,
Exactly.
yeah,
I
you should
agree.
with your shit up. And if you have to take an injection or a pill, you do that. But yeah, I'm glad that things are safer in that respect. I'm still kind of still sitting here brewing and offended by a gangbang with 30 guys. It just makes me think, what did I do wrong? So if I wanted to do like a 700 guy gangbang now, I guess it's got to go through corporate levels. Is that what you're saying? Like things are much more like professional in that respect? Like you have to get things approved before they get shot?
No, I mean, when I'm speaking about professional or like a boundaries meet, it's like, I mean, 700 guys is a lot, right? But let's just down. Everybody has fantasies, you know. I can understand that. Um, but the way how it is now is when I'm when I speak about boundaries being met and making sure that everybody is comfortable on set is that, for example, I give you an example. The company I'm under contract with, Brazzers, right?
Okay.
Uh, one of the biggest in the world. There, nothing sexually happened unless both or unless every involved talent in the scene has filled out and gone through a yes and no list to literally clarify anything that can happen or can be done in a scene, you know, is either yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. You understand what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's like we have a talent liaison on set that makes sure that if something need to be said that was not okay, that there's a person with an ear that is neutral and that you can talk to and that you feel confident talking to. Um, and yeah, I mean, like you say, like for example, if you would be in the industry now and you don't want to do anything if the camera is not rolling, it's totally fine. Like nobody gonna look at you and like, oh man, she's a bitch because she doesn't want to do anything because the camera isn't rolling. It's like no, people respect that, you know. And like you say, if you're a male performer, you need to respect that from any woman that you work with because you're there, you call yourself a professional, and you need to know your shit. You know, it's like cannot be like, excuse me, director, I cannot do the scene if she's not gonna fluff me for the next 15 minutes that I'm maybe gonna get a hard on, you know? I mean, that's not the way how it is, and that's also not the way how it should be, you know?
Yeah, well, I used to make the makeup artist do my dirty work a few times. Maybe she wasn't getting way too often, but I thought it was amusing to be standing there and watching like her trying to stroke the male talent. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Oh,
Yeah, that would never happen now.
it's like, don't
Like,
get some guys because of me. We have to shoot a totally different day. It was fun. I kind of miss that, you know, but I don't know. I don't. I would
so
never.
when,
Huh?
so when was your last scene? Which year?
1999.
1999. So I missed you by 4 years.
Fuck. See, I gotta come out of retirement now. You missed me by 4 years. I did try to date an Austrian performer, and I actually stood him up on a date. He showed up, and
Nice.
then I didn't know what I was doing, and like he showed up, then I had to hide under this table at this restaurant, and then it's these strange people I didn't know. I'm like, I'm expecting this guy to meet me here, and I changed my mind. Can you tell me when he walks in? And he just wasn't. He was really short, and
Yeah.
it just. But he wanted to work with me still, and he worked with me like a year later. But I didn't show up for the shoot, so I missed that Austrian experience. Back in the 90s. But it sounds like it's a fun time and you have like a lot going on. And then let's talk also about your jiu-jitsu career. Are you doing anything with that? Do you want to train to fight professionally?
Um, I mean, I've competed a little bit in jiu-jitsu, but the problem is the work of line and in. Uh, when you go training, you can control the environment better. If you go out in a competition, you don't really know what can happen. So I don't want to hurt my arm or my legs and stuff like that. Um, coming back to the original question, I started training jiu-jitsu in 2008, um, and I got my black belt last year in December by Professor Fabio Leopoldo, who is like a seven-time world champion. And what I want to do with it, I just want to enjoy jiu-jitsu. It's like, yes, probably next year I might gonna do the masters again. I did the masters in Vegas last year. I skipped it this year because of the nationals. So we'll see. Maybe I compete next year again just for shits and giggles. Um, but it's not gonna be something where I say like, okay, I want to be professional with it, you know, as long as I'm working in the adult industry.
How much longer do you want to work in adult?
As long as I have fun, and as long as companies that run the industry and that you work with treat the talented and the performers fairly, you know. Um, and that's what I said before. Right now, we are in a good place. Yes, you always have a few black sheeps in any industry that's out there in the world, but the majority of all the productions we have gives us a good place to be in, you know.
That's good. That's excellent.
And I still have fun with it, you know. I think once I lose the fun, then I might gonna think about changing the way how if I gonna continue or not. But for now, I think it's a great life, you know, that you have to appreciate, you know. It's very, and the funny thing is, I just talked with my mom about it today, you know. It's like uh there's like, yes, there are a lot of people maybe that speak bad about it or that think like, oh my God, adult and this and that, it's whatever, whatnot. But on the flip side, that industry opened so many doors for me, like in so many different ventures, you know, and things that I've done in the last 23 years that I would have never experienced if I would not have started in the industry. Like, I give you two quick examples, you know. Uh, 2004, I was invited to play on stage at the Vienna Castle Theater four times with actors like Udo Kier, who you may know, he's a German actor
Yeah.
known for Blade and all that kind of stuff, and he's still going strong. So I was there four times, and I had the opportunity to be in front of the curtain when the curtain goes down and get the applause from the audience and the full house, and I mean it was beautiful, you know. Uh, Another opportunity that I got was, for example, 2017. I worked together with Sacha Baron Cohen on uh, an episode for Who is America. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if you remember. Do you remember the show
Yep.
he had for Showtime, Who is America?
Mhm.
Sadly, my episode was never aired because after six episodes, it was kind of like a political uh, intervention that they had to can the show. So they were not allowed to release anything more because who knows what it
Yeah.
brought out, right? Uh, but yeah, I mean, it was a great experience, and because I worked with Sacha Baron Cohen, I had the opportunity that I joined the union, you know, the SAG-AFTRA union, you know, which I'm a part of, and it's like I would have never gotten that if I'm not in the adult industry from
It's
Austria.
a lot for people, and it will. I mean, you because you're not a train wreck and a shit show, it will do wonders for you, and that's the truth. And you're well spoken. It did wonders for me when I quit. No, even while I was in it, but by the same person I fucked over, who I was under contract to Rob Black, and I decided not to
Okay,
show up to work one day. But he got me into ECW wrestling, which is a big
nice.
company. And 25 years later, he brought his own wrestling company back. But despite our bad ending, I work for him now. So he runs shows every other month out of the valley, runs pay per views in Jersey. Like, it just got me to Japan to go wrestling. So, mainstream stuff I did on my own, but I was taking classes and everything. And it's widely accepted now if you're doing adult, but as long as you're putting in the work and, doing things, other things.
Exactly. You need to put in the work, you know, and in the end of the day, it depends on your craft and the way how you represent yourself, you know. But that goes for many things, you know, and it's like you say, I mean, I have to say, I mean, it's pretty amazing that you did wrestling. Are you still doing wrestling or
Yeah, I still
did,
work as a manager. I'm 105 and 108 pounds. And on my worst day, I'm like 110 pounds. That's when I'm really fat. Then I work as a wrestling manager in that capacity. So I walk out to the ring, I do the promos, I get involved in the match. occasionally I might get thrown out of the ring or, pushed down by the opponent, but I'm always there with the wrestler I manage. I walk out with a Singapore cane, a kendo stick. Wow.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I love it. I love beating people with that. So his shows are, yeah, once every other month here in LA, and then they're in New Jersey. We just did one. I go to Japan for a different company. It's a lot of death matches. So it's a lot of blood, glass, barbed wire, and I scream. I just get squeamish about whenever there's blood, but I'm in the middle of it. It's
That's awesome.
then I did the whole acting for a while. I was taking classes at John Ruskin. So I've done all these techniques and stuff. And there's no better technique really than life. And I'm sure you
Hmm.
could say that about yourself. You've had a long life so far in entertainment and just an interesting life. So you could draw from everything from there.
It's 100% like this, and that's that's what I feel. I mean, I just started starting taking acting classes at Margie Harper Studio.
Oh, I went there.
Yeah, so and it's pretty awesome, you know. I'm like in the no, intermediate intensive class. It's for 4 weeks, and we do Tuesday and Thursdays, and it's very refreshing, I would say. You know, you learn stuff, that's for sure. Like you say, it's definitely beneficial when you have a lot of things experienced in your life, sources that you can tap into if you need to find a character. And now it's kind of like it's more like to getting used to this whole self-tape creepy crap, which it's for a lot of older actors a big problem. And it's also like it's for me it's really new. And like I till now I don't really like it, to be honest,
Yeah.
because I'm used to have a set, it's like I'm used to have a set. If I need to imagine there is a table, I'm used to have a table, or like another actors or another actor that I can feed from, with the situation. So and now um, you like have a camera in front of you with a light, and you look to the side, and that's about it, like you kind of like you need to create so much more imagination and presence as an actor, I believe, with the self tapes,
Yeah.
than
Yeah.
you would have to if you have people, like even if you go on a live audition, you have people where you right away get a feedback, or on set where you have everything that plays into the role you're playing.
I think that self tapes, like I just worked for, it was Tim Allen's wife. Uh, they have a new show, but I just worked with them the other day, and it's interesting because we had this long conversation about self tapes because it's destroyed so much of the live interaction with an actor and a casting person. You can't make the adjustments because no one's telling you anything. You're just sending in a self tape with two or three takes, right? So you have nobody telling you this is where they want you, not there, do it this way. So it's just, I mean, it's a great opportunity, but still, then you have people not even memorizing anymore. Everyone's looking at teleprompters when they do these. Not everyone, but a lot of people have, and I don't like that.
Yes, I think it just changed a lot. I mean, and the point that you say, it's kind of like you you can't interact with the casting director anymore, where it's like as an actor, uh, it's very important, that you can make the personal contact to a casting director or the director there, because they may be not going to use you for that one specific role, but they're going to keep you in mind for something else that they do in the future, and you have a chance to get this role maybe later on, versus self tapes. Yes, it can happen the same thing, but in the end of the day, I mean, look, self tapes. The great thing what they did was that people, no matter where they are, no
Agree.
matter if they have a car or not a car, whatever, whatnot, they can send in a self tape. You know, so it opens opportunities for people. But on the other side, instead of, let's say, 200 submissions, you're getting now 1,500 to 2,000 submissions for one role. And what happens is that the casting director is not going to look at everything anymore. They're just like click, 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 click. Oh, okay, that's cool, you know? I don't even think so that if you send in auditions, that they're going to look at the whole audition. I think the first 10 to 15 seconds of your self tape decide if they're going to watch the whole thing or not.
Yeah. No, that's totally true. And then will they even get to your slate? Because so many people are asking for like your slate at the end of it. And in mainstream, people don't really care so much about an adult film cast. It's become more and more acceptable with a lot of people. And clearly you're working hard. So I know one day I'll turn on the TV and say, "Oh, I know him." Yeah. And then see you on.
It can happen. Let's see. Fingers crossed, you know.
No, I have my toes crossed as well right now. It's painful, but I'm doing it. Uh,
Thank you.
so, like, what do we have coming up on? Like, what's new? What's next for you? Any appearance?
What's yeah, so what's next is we just had the opening of our in Austria Graz. They just made how is it called real quick? Forgot the name. You see, I should know it. I'm actually in a museum.
Oh,
It's a cultural museum where they basically touch the erotic theme and all that kind of stuff and take it to a time change, you know, it's like over the last 30 years or 40 years, how it changed, what happened, stuff like that. And because it's in Graz, where I'm born and raised, they contacted me, and so I gave an interview for them and also helped them that they can use parts of the movie Wasteland, which I played in. That was, in my opinion, one of those movies that kind of like changed the adult industry forever. Uh, because it was the first uh, adult movie of its kind that was done in a way to think about mainstream. And they also went to film festivals, mainstream film festivals, and all that kind of stuff, you know. So after that, a lot of other directors started doing that. Anyhow, so that was yesterday. That museum's gonna be going till January. Then um, I'm going to be part of a cooking show that I did for OnlyFans TV. I don't know if I can say the name yet, so I just won't say that.
okay.
It has nothing to do with pornography. You literally see me cook and try to create a dish, you know, and make it in the next round, which was really, really cool and awesome. And then in January, we're gonna release it's an Austrian reality show kind of thing
Okay.
that I played with, and it's called in Austria. It's very good for Hollywood.
Okay.
It's on not the biggest national TV, but it's a sub-national TV channel plus four, and it will come out in January. And I'm basically part of 6 episodes where they kind of like portray Austrians who somehow made it in Los Angeles. So so like there, for example, is a animal trainer, cooks, or regular schauspieler or musician. And in the second season, they came to me and they said like, "Hey, you have a pretty interesting life, you know, let's just cover it." We did cover the pornography a little bit because it's part of my life. You can't lie it. We don't want to hide it. But a big part that was covered was car racing, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and also my mainstream my mainstream focus from here to come, you know.
Yeah, I think you'll do really well with that. And don't forget to take some improv classes under your belt as well to get some, whether it's Groundling, Second City. Second City is like the best. I went to all of those, but Second City is where I think I had the best experience. So if you haven't, please make sure you get some classes under your belt for improv because it's changed my life completely. Not my personal life. Well, that too, but yeah. I've met weird people in classes. And one thing you never do is you never hook up with someone you meet in an improv class because chances are, if they're as good as you are, you're going to be throughout this whole program for like many years to come and in your life. If people want to find you, how do they find you? Where do they find you?
So if people want to find me, I think the easiest way is just to Google my name. If you Google Mick Blue XXX Instagram or Mick Blue XXX Twitter, you should find me. You can find my Wikipedia page, and you can also find my IMDb page if you Google it.
Only if you
Which,
Google it.
yeah, I don't know why. I don't know why I'm kind of like shadow banned on IMDb if you search my name, you know?
That's so weird. What about OnlyFans? Do you have an OnlyFans page?
Yes, I have an OnlyFans page. It's Mick Blue XXX,
Okay.
and then I have another one where you basically don't need to pay for pay-per-view or something like that. How you call it in OnlyFans?
Yeah.
It's Mick Blue VIP. So it's kind of like you pay a monthly membership fee, and then all the videos that are on the site you can watch them for free.
Cool. Well, danke schön. Thank you so much
Yeah,
for
gerne.
doing this. I was so excited to meet you virtually, because the whole race car driving is it's so different and such a big deal to me.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I love it. I mean, you have a lot of things on your plate too, you know? It's like the motorcycle driving and the wrestling, it's very unique and awesome as well, I have to say.
Thank you. Aw. And maybe it come back into porn. No, that's never gonna happen. But I am gonna go after those people who did that gangbang and insulted me. Okay. Yeah. So on moving, yeah. And if any of you ever want to do a gangbang, like a real gangbang, it's one person with a bunch of people, not five girls and 30 guys. That is amateur hour, my friends. Yes. With that
And it
said,
was very amateur. It was very amateur, I have to
see,
say.
that's coming from another expert.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And I will let you know when this is up. I appreciate you. Thank you.